Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. We have a new tank in the game, and it is the Kunze Panzer. Now, I'm going to call this the Kunze Panzer because I just don't think this tank is very good at all. Now, I'm not going to complain too much because it is a free tank. It is an event tank that you can get, in my opinion, quite easily, and you can get it for absolutely free. How do you get the tank? All you have to do is do some damage. So grab out your tier 10s, your best tier 10s, do some damage, and what you have to do is over 10 battles, do as much damage as you possibly can. I believe it is over 10 battles for 7 days, something like that, and it is your first sort of 10 battles. But what I like about this event is you can start the event when you want. So it's not your first battle. You can literally log into the game, have a few warm-up battles, and then hit that start button, and then only then will the 10 battles count towards this tank. So what's the tank like? Now, going by other medium tanks or light tanks in tier 7, not great, to be honest. The DPM for a light tank is very low. I mean, I'm not asking for the world, I'm not asking for it to be OP, but I just think this lacks something. And the DPM, the speed, maybe the speed's okay, but I think it could be a little bit better. Maybe it's the engine power or the power to rate ratio, I'm not sure, but it just feels like it's a bit sluggish for a light tank. And the same as the DPM, 2290. Compare that to the M41D, which is 2800, almost 2900, the same as the Walker Bulldog. It has the same penetration. The alpha is a little bit more, and the reload is much more, nearly 6 seconds. So yeah, the aim time pretty much the same. Dispersion is higher. It does have 10 degrees of gun depression though, but it hasn't got any armor whatsoever. With 63 on your turret, when you're using the 10 degrees of gun depression, occasionally you may bounce the troll shots, and yeah, it's not, for me, it's not a great tank. So we're going to get into some battles that I recently played. What we're going to watch. Let's watch this canal game here. So yeah, I just feel like it's a bit sluggish, you know. I like the tanks with no armor. I do like tanks with no armor, but I prefer them to have sort of a lower reload, and I like the pew pew, so I like to sort of back up, like the Type 62 or like the M41D. Just things like that, where you can actually just sit behind a hill, poke up, take your shot and back up again, and just keep doing that. You can't really do that with this tank. It doesn't have the armor, and it doesn't have the DPM. Almost a 6-second reload is, I mean, for 200 alpha, just over 200 alpha, for me, it's just sluggish. But you know what? I'm not going to complain too much. I'm not going to complain too much because it is a free tank, and it is a tank for you collectors to have in your garage. I just feel that when I'm going to go for the tank, of course I'm going to try and earn the tank. But when I get the tank, I've already aced it because I tested the tank. I think it's just going to sit in my garage and never get played. And that's the honest opinion. I don't see any reason to play this tank when I have tanks like the Type 62, or when I have tanks like the M41D. I just don't think it's worth playing. I just don't think it would be worth playing, and it's a shame. It is a shame because it is a new tank. It does look good. I've got to admit, it does look good. It does have the new graphics on the tank along with the Yo line, so it does look a good tank. I just wish Wargaming would give it something, you know, just give it something to worth playing. I mean, lower the reload, maybe by, well, I think the reload needs to be lowered at least a second. But you know, it is what it is. Wargaming never do, well, very rare they do really good tanks that are easily obtained for free. Sometimes they do event tanks that are pretty good, but it's almost impossible to get the tank for free. Normally with events you get there just a huge discount off the tank, but with this at least Wargaming are doing it so you can actually get the tank for free. So fair play to Wargaming, and I know I still understand a lot of people are going to go for the tank. Not many people are like me and have a lot of premium tanks. So if you haven't got sort of the M41D or a Type 62 or anything like that, then yeah, of course, it's a tank, an extra tank to have in your garage to earn credits. And it's a premium tank. If you get away with shooting the premium rounds, you are going to make some credits in the tank. But you're not going to perform as well as other tanks will. The M41D, I know it doesn't have no armor. It has actually less armor than this tank, but you know, it has the DPM. It has that DPM, and the DPM is, I mean, it's way higher. Very surprised that the Leopard, or the Leo there, does quite a lot of damage. Actually, that was my own fault. So yeah, like you can perform well, and this game we finished with a first class, and I mean 2.5k damage, not much, but we do get 1500 base XP. So we are going to go into another game that we recently had. Now this game was a little bit better. When you're up against tier 8, that is when, let's just turn this down a bit. When you're up against tier 8, you're going to suffer. You really are going to suffer. I was up against the IS-3 in one game. I just could not pen it at all. Frontally, even switching to premium rounds, I couldn't pen it. It probably was the angle that I was looking at the tank, etc. And to be honest, I don't mind that, because it is a light tank. You're not really supposed to penetrate these tanks easily when you're in a light tank. Your job is to use the mobility to get around the tank, and then start shooting from the side or the rear, or start circling, etc. So yeah, I don't mind that about the penetration, because it's a light tank. It's not all about the penetration, it's about the mobility, and it's about DPM. This tank really doesn't have that. It goes 70 kilometers an hour. I'm not going to lie, it does go 70 kilometers an hour, but it does have less power to rate ratio over the M41D and over the Walker Bulldog. And them tanks are just literally, they are so quick, and if you're in trouble, you can just get out of there like really, really quickly. You're unable to do this with this. It just feels the acceleration is a bit sluggish, as you can see here. I mean, yeah, we're up against the rock here, but you can see it just feels sluggish, and it's a lot harder to do the circling. It's a lot harder to circle tanks, especially sort of heavy tanks. These tanks, I mean, we're up against a T-43. You're not really supposed to be able to circle these guys, but this guy is just giving me a bit of free damage here, and I do save myself from getting shot, and he does get taken out. Now, this game we do finish with some nice bit of damage, but unfortunately we could not ace it. It's not an ace. Most of the damage that we get does come from 2 TOGs. We have 2 TOGs on the enemy team, which is great for us. That when I see a TOG on the enemy team, I just look at that and think, damage. But you know, don't underestimate a TOG, because the DPM is fantastic. Even with me on 700 hit points, he will probably out DPM me, because he has the hit points, he has the DPM. So I don't want to just come up against this guy. I'm trying to hide while I'm on a reload, because I do have the hit points over him. So I'm just trying to hide whilst I'm reloading, and then at this point I don't really mind getting shot. It's a 5 versus 3. That guy's a 1 shot, the other guy's a couple of shots. So now I'm just going to ignore the Sherman, and we're just going to farm a little bit of damage from this TOG 2 who is looking. And the TOG 2 is a really difficult tank to circle anyway, because the turret traversal on the tank is really, really good. And this, as I said, this tank is not the best of light tanks to go circling with. So I'm happy at this point to take one more shot to bring me down to a 1 shot. So we do take the shot, but unfortunately we do mess that shot up, so we don't manage to get the damage. And now we are a 1 shot. I'm just going to wait for my team. You know, I thought I had a pretty good damage. I'm thinking, okay, you know what, this could be an ace, so I don't want to die. I don't want to risk myself until I know he's not looking at me, and then we're going to come out and get the last shot. We're not going to get the kill, unfortunately. So I thought I did enough. I thought I did enough there for an ace. No one's playing it. It shouldn't be too difficult to ace. But you know what? It wasn't to be, and we only finish on a first class. 3.5k, 3.7k damage, and it was only a first class. So you can perform well in the tank. You can. But for me, it's just missing something. And I don't know. The DPM, I mean, 600 to 700 lower than the M41D. It is missing something. Maybe up the DPM, or maybe up the speed, so you can get out of places pretty quickly. But yeah, it's definitely missing something. But you know what? For a free tank, we can't complain. We can't complain. It is a free tank. Should be fairly easy to get. So I hope you guys do get the tank, and I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 60,000 subscribers, so we will be doing a massive giveaway when we get there. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With